Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show back at it again. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus. By the
He
way,
is
Rod is the clown.
the
No,
freshly.
no.
I mean,
There.
you don't want the community to compliment you on your beard.
I'm a week in, and that's why I'm saying it still looks good. That one there is a clown. Don't listen to what
The-
he has to say. Him and his top button buttoned. Godly.
This is the Bearder Bros Golf Show. So for you to have your beard looking
Looking nice.
nice, I mean, hey, I'm just saying. Hey y'all, hope y'all are doing well. Feeling good today. I don't know why, just in a good mood. A lot of golf this weekend. A lot of sports this weekend. I
Lot,
mean,
lot of
I feel,
everything.
I feel like this is one of like there's a handful of weeks and weekends in sport that just go really hard. So we had opening day in baseball. We had Final Four. Or going to the Final Four in men's and women's basketball, Elite Eight, Sweet 16 type stuff. We had three, big golf leagues playing. We had PGA Tour, LPGA returning with a full stacked up field, DP World Tour, all very good stuff. So a lot of sports
Yeah.
going on, a lot of places for your eyes to be um, diverted to. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and start with the PGA Tour. A few stories that came out from this weekend. Off top, Scottie Scheffler really seems to like Memorial playing in Houston. Second year in a row, came in second again. You can tell the game is finally starting to round into form. Uh, really starting to find what's working for him. And, I feel like this is kind of where he was going into the Masters last year from a conditioning standpoint. We know he sat out some early competition this year due to the hand and kind of a late start. So, what'd you think about Scotty's performance? And then we'll get into Minwoo Lee and his win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, shout out to the PGA for actually grabbing a field. It wasn't just a one or two hitter. I mean, it was it was 5 to 6 good players out there. I mean, notable players. Let me not say good players. Everybody on the PGA Tour is better than anybody talking on the mic is doing. So let me say that five like elite names that we know and can recognize. Let me say that. Let me
Yep.
rephrase.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, as far as Scardy goes, yeah, bogey free round one, then really turned back the clock and kind of went crazy on us. Shot a course record, tying the course record 62. We all know how that goes when you go super low. That next day is never going to be as great as it could be. So he kind of got left
But
behind and
but still in the 60s though.
still in the hunt. But just a different ball game that third day, and then he kind of kicked it back into gear on that final round and tried to make a late surge. We went birdie, birdie, birdie on 14, 15, 16 or something like that. Um, he's running into form. Um,
Yeah.
will I say he's in the best conditions? No, but I mean, when you mess up your hand doing some everyday things, you're always going to be a little bit shaky for a little bit till that fully heals, till you feel, the utmost confidence again. But yeah, he looked good. The ball striking's never going to leave him. As long as he's driving it somewhat decent and not in the rough, his iron play is always going to save him. I think,
Which the rough, this was probably the most tolerable rough that we've
right.
seen all year.
Right. Masters, equivalent and stuff like that as they try to claim it to be. Um, I will say in regards to Scotty, I don't know, I feel like it was a couple of weeks where he wasn't really using the pencil grip as far as putting goes, and his putting kind of suffered, I would say. But, we haven't seen him. This is a small sample size. So I don't want
Yeah.
to, jump the gun and, you know, feel like it was a bad week putting, but he we see the pencil grip again and he shoots 62. That's all I'm saying. So I think
Yeah.
When he does that for his mid to short putts and stuff like that, I feel he has that confidence again. So yeah, I mean, he's well on his way to where he needs to be, and he'll have a week off to go over to Augusta early. Him, Rory, all the big names, Morikawa, Shoffley, all those guys. They're heading over soon to go ahead and get that work in and get the swings dialed in. So yeah, I think he's headed the right direction. He's one or two steps away from being, the Scottie that we all know that's going to be contending in the Masters again.
Which is scary for the field. Clearly,
Right.
he's won it twice at this point, and you just don't want to see him. It's one of those things we've talked about this for a year or two now. You don't want to see Scotty coming up behind you on the final day of a tournament.
Right.
Although Minwoo Lee had a pretty sizable lead going into Sunday, it feels like you want to have some strokes and some cushion. Um, we've seen a lot of this. He was still able to go, what, 4 under on Sunday, Minwoo Lee was,
Right.
to have a pretty convincing victory, right? So getting that first one is always tough, figuring out how to win, how to get across the finish line. He's had 2 runner-up finishes at this point of his career on the PGA Tour. This was his 55th start. And so it's like I said, it's scary to see Scotty, world number one, coming up in the rearview mirror, um, not playing in your group, playing ahead of
Playing in
you.
front of you,
Uh, yep,
even
yep.
scarier.
So and even Gary Woodland making a bit of a resurgence, putting a number on the board as well,
Yeah.
tying for second as well. Really stuffed it in there on 18 on the final day. He looked really good. The power cut was back in play, and I've never seen Gary Woodland turn over so many draws as I did this past weekend. So, salutes to him making it back from the scare with brain cancer and things that he went through over the last couple of years as well.
Yeah.
So we saw a lot of quality golf played over the weekend, and that includes Minwoo Lee got hot on Saturday. I mean, I looked up and I had to go back in the coverage because I was trying to figure out how he had separated himself
Hmm.
so quickly from the field, but just pouring in the birdies. He can score. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
He can
But
score.
that aggressiveness can also get him into trouble as well. So it cuts both ways. You can go after some pins. You can fire at flags, but if you don't have it, it may be a week where it's just where you're just not doing it. But very forgiving course. We already mentioned the rough, wide fairways. True, there's quite a few holes out there where trees can obstruct your approach into the green where you're shooting over some trees, or if you get off a little bit off the fairway. But the rough wasn't penal. The greens are actually they were very soft, and they're big greens out there at Memorial as well. So, um, you're going to get some chances to score. But I think soft as the golf course was, I'm actually surprised they didn't push the 30 under boundary. But it stayed pretty reasonable for a course that honestly could be more gettable. What do you think about that aspect of it?
I mean, just based off what happened last year, where conditions were pretty much perfect, except for like a cold day or two. Felt like it was not shocking to get to 20, but it was a surprise to get to 20. But I mean, because I felt like the conditions were not as appealing as everyone would like. It was a little bit more windy. I mean, with the rain, the delays, and stuff like that, it made the greens more gettable. But the greens are tricky out there at Memorial, especially the way that they've built them up and have them raised and stuff like that. There's a lot of false fronts. There's a lot of, just shaved edges and stuff like that, where if you're missing, who knows if it's going to stop. You might not get lucky. You might just be on somewhere on the side of a slope. Now, lie's always going to be good, but, you're not putting anymore. You're chipping that up. You're trying to make sure you're on the right level because there's a lot of spines. There's a lot of tricky knobs on those greens. And that was before the redo and then after the redo. So they didn't really do much work to the greens besides speed them up, change them around a little bit, but maybe but other than that, I mean, Memorial really was playing premium, probably the best it's looked in a few years. I mean, they
Well, they
really put
changed
in
it.
work.
They did the overseeding this
Yeah,
year versus just letting it be the dormant Bermuda. The greens are similar. The greens have typically been conditioned the same way that they were this year.
right,
But that dormant Bermuda is very different to play in. But like you said, they're trying to replicate some of the conditions of Augusta National, which it's okay. I mean, it's there's no true duplication of that. It's just
right,
not.
right,
But if you want to play out of the overseeded rye, I think it does give you an idea of what those lies typically play like. Are you going to get some flyers? But again, the fairways were super wide for that. I think they could have tightened up the fairway cut to bring that whatever version of rough is into play more often. But it is what it is, right? It's a couple weeks out from the Masters. So again, you just get a little bit of a feel. You're not going to get that anywhere else early on in the season. So I don't hate it, but it definitely played different than previous years.
yeah, it did.
Uh, on kind of the drama front, we saw final group Sunday as well. Alexander Toasty, who is not really a stranger to controversy at this stage. He's had a couple of dust ups at this point of his career. Seems to be a bit of a disgruntled type of guy sometimes. Incredibly long, really good player. I got to watch him in person at the Colonial a couple of years ago. Dude is beyond long off the tee. I mean, can bomb it, and he's not a very tall guy at all.
Yeah.
But temperamental. And uh, first hole started off rough. I think there was some dust up with Fox and his drop and waiting around, and then Minwoo Lee, his drop later on, or just kind of figuring out what they were going to do on the hole. I think it was hole number 8 that they ended up spending like 30 minutes on, which not great for TV, not great figuring out all that stuff. But he started playing behind Bones Lakai, mentioned it on the broadcast. Toasty came out today firing shots back at him with just saying he was speaking for the fans and that he had to go to the restroom, did something with, prepared a beverage for himself or something like that, and was defending his actions falling behind the group. It was kind of surmised on the coverage that he was doing it intentionally because of having to wait behind Minwoo Lee. So I don't know. I don't know how much of that you caught, but the golf drama was heating up for sure. And again, it wasn't just Minwoo Lee. He was also testy with Fox as well early on in the match.
I didn't catch much of it. Not saying Minwoo Lee is a slow player, but kind of deliberate. I mean, I feel like him and his caddy go through the numbers a bit much, just based off what I saw from the few days of coverage. But I mean, I don't know what his beef with Ryan Fox is. Ryan Fox, one of the fastest players on the tour.
Right.
Ryan Fox has one of the most predictable paces. I mean, he walks fast. I mean, you saw it on a couple of the holes where Minwoo Lee was, playing. He's on the side of the camera, on the side of the view. He's inching forward, trying to get up, trying to get to the next shot. I mean, the dude is 10, 11, 12 seconds pretty much every time he addresses the ball. So don't know what happened with that. But just like you said, Toasie's a little bit fiery. Hopefully he can find a way to, become a little bit more even keel, especially if he wants to last out on the tour. There's going to be some slow moments. There's going to be some times where it's drawn out, and you got to just make it through that. So be it. The ruling happened. Oh, well, move on. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
clearly you got to have some wherewithal to stay within it so you can try to make a push to get back into the match and try to win it. Try to steal it away from Minwoo Lee. So I really don't understand what
I,
that's about.
I I think players at this stage are trying to. There's a clear segmentation of PGA Tour players. I think there's some that are really trying to force the issue. Talking about the timing aspect of it and trying to. I would imagine trying to get something done like the LPGA,
Yeah, they're egging
with
it
their
on.
updated rules. Yeah, like they're trying to really force the issue. It's coming up way too often to be circumstantial at this point. It was mentioned very much in the early part of the season. Broadcast teams, fans, the choruses have been very loud about slow play and people rallying about it. And so I think there's a handful of outspoken players that are trying to force the issue and force the PGA Tour to make a decision about how to handle this going forward. And I think
Yeah,
it is necessary. We saw it on 18. I think that was probably like one of the like both players playing with Minwoo Lee had already shot taken their shots in, and yes, he's one of the longer players on tour at this stage. But again, he went back through the numbers a couple of times before taking his shot, and he wasn't that far off um, from I think it was Toasty that was on the same side as him as well. Got up there, pulled the trigger, did what he had to do. Actually, put it a little bit closer than Minwoo. Who flew the green. So,
yeah,
yeah, things have to be figured out as it relates to that for sure.
yeah. Not defending Minwoo, but it's 18. He's up one, had a few testy holes. He's really, I guess, taking in the moment. Toasty's out of the fight, Fox out of the fight. They don't really give a shit. So they're just gonna go on about their business. Minwoo Lee clearly trying to win the tournament. That's the only justification I have on 18. Everything else, is definitely like we don't need to be going over the numbers that much, bro. We don't need to be talking
Yeah,
about a 70% seven compared to a 90% eight compared to a blown out nine. Like, bro, like, please get the club in your
let's keep it.
hand and hit it, bro. Like, there's no need for you to be that, that, I don't know, precise or whatnot, especially if you're just trying to get it on the green and get up out of there. So that's the only
Yeah,
thing that I have to say about that. 18, I get it. Every other hole, like, bro, like, do your process and keep it moving, bro.
no doubt. One of our favorite creators on Instagram, I just caught this before while I was kind of scouring through before the show started. Jordan Rogers, he's a former Nike guy, a lot of marketing stuff, and so I really respect his opinion on how athletes are viewed and who's marketable and who's not. And I think Minwoo Lee is one of those athletes that is very marketable. And he's again, this guy's niche. This is what he does, Jordan Rogers. And so he put together a slide deck on Instagram. I'm gonna pull that up. Um, like I said, just saw it before we hopped on, and he just talks about what as golf looks for its next star. How do we get there? Let's see how this
Yeah.
looks. Cool. I'm gonna read through it just in case it's too small on the screen here. Let me head back. So he talks about Minwoo Lee being very distinct. I mean, in the men's game, we've talked about how international that the LPGA is. We have women from all across the world. On the PGA Tour, it's pretty homogenous, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about a it's a Caucasian dominated sport, and we don't have many people coming from other countries. A few Latin Americans, a few guys, from the Asian countries, Korea, but Minwoo Lee, theoretically from Australia, right? Him and his sister,
Yeah.
that's where their folks are from. He has actually a distinct Australian accent, so it's very interesting hearing him speak.
Yeah.
When you're expecting one thing, and, after you hear it and are jarred by it, you're able to move on. But he's very distinct. So we talked about his brand deal with Fabletics last year. He was the first golf athlete that they brought into the fold, so very marketable there. They were
Fabletics or
clearly on
Lululemon?
Lululemon. You're right. Sorry, Lululemon. My fault. Good catch. Um, Again, pro golf selects for stoic introverts. We've seen, we were joking the other week when I was like, you sent me a video with Xander Schauffele, and I was like, oh, we're starting to show some personality, and we just don't get to see that a lot from our athletes, from golf athletes, where they're very much straight down the line. The answers are always rehearsed. So when we get to see some emotion or see something different out of people, um, I think we like it, right? We even saw that with Tiger Forever. Very much non-answers on everything, very polished. He was the Michael Jordan of golf.
Yeah,
Non-answers. If there's anything that controversial that comes up, he is jumping away from it as quickly as he can. Um,
very calculated.
yep. So we know that golf has been looking for a star as Tiger Woods has faded into, the latter half of his career. The injuries, and, has not won a major since 2019. So golf is looking for a star. We've talked about it ad nauseum about is Scheffler a star? Early on when he first started winning, he wasn't showing a ton of personality. I think as he's gotten more comfortable in the limelight, he's come out a little bit more out of his shell. Forced into it last year when he got arrested at the PGA Championship.
Yeah,
So we're reaching in golf. Said unfortunately people connect with emotion and story. So we've seen Minwoo Lee kind of brand himself. A lot of the Dr. Chipinski, the chef with the let him cook. So he's got some things that he could definitely capitalize off of from a marketing standpoint.
very much so.
The primary place where people connect is through social media. We've seen Minwoo Lee lean into social media, very heavy on Instagram. Does a lot of stuff with his own personal Instagram as well as Callaway. We've seen Bryson, as featured here, kill it on YouTube with his series. The most recent one was him hidden over the house for the hole in one. So social media is where stars are made these days. Um, okay, this one's getting itch. We're getting itch. It's about Snapchat. I am not a Snapchat person, so I'm gonna skip that one. Um, and I think again, he's one of these kids that has grown up in social media. So
Yeah,
he's saying he uses it natively. It's something that comes natural to him. Here he goes. He used it. So the chef let him cook. Dr. Chipinski. Um, these are interesting. So he rocks the Oakleys. He's undersized. I mentioned the Australian accent earlier. Mullet. I've never even thought about that, but definitely something distinctive, and that little scrappy mustache that he's got going on. So I'm gonna close it out because he's got a couple more slides. I'll finish it out. And so of course he's winning now. Challenged the top. Had a good summer a couple of years ago on the Australian swing. So it's Oakley, Lululemon, and Callaway promotions that he's got going on, and then of course, um, he's got the connection to his sister as well. So the golfing family. So Minwoo Lee has a lot going on. What's going on? Has a lot going on and makes him marketable and someone that we should definitely look out for. And as we always say, we hope it's not just a flash in the pan, drop in the bucket where he's able to win this one and then goes away. We want to see the young stars continue to capitalize off of the momentum and keep it going and truly turn themselves into stars. Before we keep moving on, anything else you want to wrap up with on the Houston Open that I may have missed?
no, no, no. I mean, really, just in regards to Minwoo and the stardom and stuff like that. And I think it was pretty organic. I mean, him and his sister have been pretty much competing in amateur events and stuff like that. His name has been in the game of golf for a while now. I think with him though, it's just going to be tough to live up to the pressure of being Lil Bro to Minji. She's already a major winner, multi-time winner. You know, she's kind of on a cold streak, but I mean, as soon as she gets her putting back together and stuff like that, I think she'll be okay. I mean, she's another phenomenal ball striker. I mean, prodigious distance for the women's game. I mean, we're talking, 9 iron, 150, 155 type stuff. So if you know anything about the game of golf, that's not really normal even for the amateurs. So for her to be hitting, golf shots in that realm, I think it's pretty, extraordinary. But it's just going to be a tough uphill battle as far as finding a star. Because listen, not only was Tiger a winner, he was winning in dominant fashion, he was winning in electric fashion, and then he was gravitating towards more than just one group of people. So, yes, Scotty is doing some things we haven't seen before, or it's been a while since we've seen that. But nobody is going to ever achieve the worldwide stardom that Tiger's going to be. We're just chasing a ghost here. So it's tough that we even really have to deal with that. But like, I don't foresee
Yeah,
anybody capturing what he captured. I mean, just
I don't
from a
know.
standpoint I mean, what could we do? Like, who could come along? What would they look like? First of all, what would they look like? What would the game be like? And how
Yeah.
dominant would they be? And how prolonged would the dominance last? That's what I'm saying.
So, I mean,
We have,
we never know who's the next great until they're here, right? I think that's why, which we'll talk a little bit at the end about a separate situation going on in the sports world, but it's hard to, and until we see that person, I think again because of his distinct look and nationality, Minwoo Lee has the potential. I'm not saying that he has the talent to get there, but he's got the potential, right? And I think even I would say the next one that we kind of that is going to be Tiger like has not appeared yet because we saw Tiger be great very early in his career. We saw him do really big things first couple of tournaments out of the gate, came out ready, prepared differently. And we've long talked about how these kids are not afraid and they're doing bigger things earlier on in their career. So I think that next person probably isn't someone that's on our radar right now.
yeah.
I don't think that they're not in the current crop. So I probably already know the answer to to this question, but Bubba Watson had some comments over the weekend as well, or at least they surfaced this weekend, saying that what Scotty did last season not dwarfed, but he thinks it eclipsed what Tiger did in his 2000 season. Based on what you just said, I can already know where you're going. So, do you think there's any truth to that, or even any comparison to Tiger 2020 versus Scotty 2024?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, but I'm not even gonna go crazy on that because recency bias is a thing. Um, Living in it as an adult is definitely different compared to what you experienced as a kid. Because a lot of the times, like remember in 2000, you were 18, you were 17, turning 18. I was 11, turning 12. At that time, we weren't even in the game of golf. So just historically speaking, we didn't even get to experience the greatness that was three majors, 9 wins, 20 starts, not finishing pretty much out of the top 25 in any of those tournaments. We didn't get to
Yeah,
experience that. We got to experience Scotty win a major, win a gold medal, in crazy fashion. I mean, he went crazy on the back nine out there in Paris. You don't think Tiger would have went stupid in the Olympics in 2000 if they had golf in 2000? I
right.
just think if the situation was in the same fashion, I just think we get three majors, a gold, and then a 10th win. But again, I just think Bubba is a two-time Masters winner. I don't think he needs to go about it this way to get attention back drawn on him by saying
Yeah.
outlandish things like that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. It is kind of outlandish when you think about what Tiger did. I mean, three majors in the same year is, I mean, that's kind of nuts, right? So,
Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, for that reason, I don't think he put much meat behind the argument as well of why it was better, but it was just something to say to get people to react, and I mean, people are going to react. It was worth bringing up, but do I think that's a credible statement? Not really.
No,
We've
it wasn't even
seen,
a question of who was the player of the year in 2000. It was
right?
questionable who was the player of the year last year because Xander won two majors.
Yeah, you're
What are we
right.
talking about?
Yeah,
So again, I'm not
yeah.
gonna get animated about this. That's as animated as I'm gonna get. He's not gonna get there.
um, I said I was going to be done with the PGA Tour, but this is another small story. Just because his name came up, and the PGA Tour is also always trying some new stuff. So I think over the weekend they started, and maybe even on the Thursday coverage, they were talking about players that whatever they finished, that what they needed to finish to get into the Masters, um,
Yeah.
and that ended up being incorrect for one notable guy who had to speak out on it. So Ben Griffin, we've talked about him a lot. I've talked about how I saw him come up through the Corn Ferry. Has been playing a lot of golf. So
Yeah.
this week in San Antonio will be his 13th straight start. They said in the early coverage that if he got 28th or better, that he would end up in the Masters. I don't think they were accounting for other players' performance when they were saying those numbers.
Right.
So after he finished 18th, they were like, "Oh, he's in." That wasn't true. He's got to win in San Antonio for that to happen.
One
Michael Kim
missed
is
about one
actually
spot.
50th. Yeah, but Michael Kim was right on the bubble. And outside of that, going into this week, and he was able to get himself in a position to play in the Masters, and that looks like a lock for him. He's actually sitting out this week. He has played a crap ton of golf as well, but Ben Griffin has played in every week since the beginning of the season, since the second Hawaii event,
Yeah.
and the only two that he hasn't played in were because he was playing in opposite fields. So the Puerto Rico, and then there was another event in there as well. But something was very interesting. I wrote down like all of his finishes. I was looking at it. It just made me think about something kind of that's been at the top of the discussion on the PGA Tour and like stars. Um, the the stars kind of clamoring for more, but what the story actually told me is that winning is the case, right? So like Ben Griffin, while he's played a lot of golf and he's been somewhat consistent, he hasn't had a lot of top 10 finishes. And so I was
Right.
looking at his earnings for the year, and I think he was at 1.3 million, and that's through 12 events. So it made me go think, like to go investigate. And I said, let me go see what the stars are doing. Let's see what happens when people go and win tournaments. And so first name I looked up was Scottie Scheffler. We already talked about him having an abbreviated season so far. He has played in 5 events, and I think he's won like $5 million already.
Right.
Then I was like, let me go look at Rory. So Rory's won two players and the Pebble Beach and had other high finishes. 5 starts as well, maybe six. It was 5 and 6 for all three of these guys I looked at. He's at 9 mil. And then, so swatch that. Squash what I said. Scheffler's at 3 mil. Rory's at like 9 mil. Then I looked up Colin Morikawa. 5 events. We were like, okay, we know he missed winning the other day by, a couple by a stroke. Had two other top 10 finishes and two tied for 17th. He's got $5 million in earnings so far this year. So 12 events for Ben Griffin, um, 5 or 6 for these other guys, and they are killing it. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, winning is winning, no matter if it's stars involved. And Ben Griffin has been able to get into these elevated events as well. So he's had an opportunity to win the big money, but has not necessarily performed at a level that has dictated that he earned more. So I've been battling in my head all the changes and all the kind of exclusivity that has been going on with the events and them cutting out Monday qualifiers next year, reducing the amount of spots for events also next year, how this is going to impact people. But the better players are actually just playing better. And I just found
Right.
that an interesting kind of discovery looking at him as a test case, and then, him kind of dealing with the disappointment of probably not getting into the Masters this year. Do you have any comments on that? I just found it an interesting thing to dig into as a nerd.
Yeah. So actually I watched a video on that earlier that kind of went into the same kind of depth as you were bringing up, but only specifically about Ben Griffin. The thing is, unfortunately, towards the latter part of his 3 month run, tired, travel,
Missing cuts,
missing cuts. He missed a cut at the Arnold Palmer, tied 45 in another
flares.
event. Yeah. So come on. Like, yeah, he's played 3 months straight, but also that consistency needs to kick it up a little bit, just a little bit, because that's what ended up happening. He was, kind of smooth sailing mid 40s as far as his official world golf ranking, and that would have got him in. But, anything outside the top 50, you need that win. So that's why he's playing again this
Yeah.
week. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that tiredness and that travel and stuff and playing every week, it kind of takes a toll on you. So maybe hopefully he can get, a couple more top fives, a couple more top tens, get into these fields with bigger prizes, bigger pools. That way he can take a couple of weeks off and rejuvenate that hunger and that energy level and not feel like he's always traveling and always having to go balls to the wall and really tire himself out. So that's all I
Yeah.
wanted to add to that piece is that, that it's just like what you said, it's in connection with the stars playing well. They get a chance to recoup and just focus on bigger events with more money. So they don't have to go to Puerto Rico. They don't have to go to Sony. They play the Century. Then they get ready
Yeah.
for the West Coast. They don't have to play the American Express. They can if they want to kind of get into the swing of things as far as California golf goes. But where are they going? They're playing in the Farmers, and then they're going straight to Pebble Beach for the elevated event. They don't have to play all those, 144, player fields. They're playing in the 70 player fields and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
So
that
yeah,
doesn't even include the one overseas event that Rory has played already this year in the Hero Dubai Desert Classic, which he
exactly.
finished fourth in, and which that was a big prize pool for the DP World Tour. So that doesn't even include that start for him, which he's
Right.
actually played as a star, probably the most events of all of our groupings of stars because he does get a handful of starts on the DP World Tour. Of course, we
Yeah.
know the majors qualify for that as well, but he's been a world traveler for quite some time, but still figures out a way to store up enough energy to focus on the ones that matter. And the fact that he's already got two victories that so far this year definitely bodes well for him and setting up well for this strategy that he's been executing on and picking the
Yeah.
right events for himself.
Absolutely.
I'll let you pick. You want to hit LPGA or DP World Tour?
Let's do DP World Tour.
All right, we're gonna Eugenio Chikara it up. So the young man left Live at the end of last year, um, not voluntary. His contract wasn't renewed with Live directly, and his team, the Fireballs, which was led by Sergio Garcia, did not renew his contract either. So I think they could have had a chance to push the envelope and signed him, and then figured out what Liv was going to do. Um, there was some back and forth. They cited some of his behavior, which I can probably see how that would work out. I was kind of looking, I got a chance to watch a lot of the Saturday and Sunday coverage of the event that happened over in India this past weekend for the DP World Tour. And his energy is different. I will say that. And I can see how if he was mixing it up with teammates, how somebody could maybe get put off by it. But he talks to himself quite a bit. I saw him hit quite a few shots where he does the kind of hard charging thing where he's walking after the ball. Like I said, different cat. You can even pick that up off of TV. So left really on kind of rough terms with the Live group, and said that his dream was to play the PGA Tour. He went straight from amateur status, was one of these names that we knew as an up and comer, and went to Live 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Said that that wasn't necessary. It was something that financially he said was the best thing for him. No one's arguing that piece at all. But in terms of his career, he was very disappointed that Liv didn't push for the majors and kind of the things that they needed to do and still need to do to qualify for the majors. He
Yeah.
said that a lot of promises were broken. And so, um, you know, plotted this path back to the PGA Tour. This was his second event on the DP World Tour. He got at least in 2025. He had a couple starts last year as well, but tied for 20th in his first start, wins in this event. Tough event. He won at 4 under. We were talking about it pre-show. Really, like 95% of the field finished over par for the week. Tough course, kind of quirky, some weird holes, a lot of elevation changes that were hard. It was windy.
It was windy.
So
Yeah. Tough conditions.
yeah, but for him to go 4 under, tough it out, look the part. Before I get your comments, I want to show these two pictures of him that I when I was looking up. This is him with Liv, and then him after the fact. Come on, there we go. So hopefully, let me scroll. So this is the kid before this year when he was still with Liv. Um, Not exactly in the best shape of his life. I think he would probably say that as well. I think he's still under 25 or right around 25 at this stage. So carrying a little bit of extra weight, you can tell in his face as well. And then I'm gonna pull up the current state of him. Totally different facial structure. Definitely took some pounds off the waistline as well. I also found it interesting that he was playing in his Oklahoma State gear and the Golf Saudi hat. Interesting apparel choices over the weekend as well. But clearly, the man has found his focus, gotten himself into shape, looking like his college days as well. Seems to be happier. And I think again the challenge of trying to get to the PGA Tour is in the back of his mind. So I thought it was pretty cool to see this transformation as I was looking up pictures to pull for today.
Yeah, man. I
So
just don't think they. I just don't think they take it serious over there in that other league that they play over there. Um, I mean, you see it. They're not as interested. They're a little bit more frustrated. I mean, I really just key on that Ian Poulter video where they played at Golf Club of Houston last summer or 2 summers ago, where he's more enthralled and more passionate about arguing with the fan and trying to get him kicked out. And Buddy was just looking at him. He didn't even say anything as far as the videos goes, But good on you, Chikara. Felt like he just felt a little bit more passionate about what he's got going on now. Um, Hopefully he can get him an apparel deal or something like that and isn't forced to wear his OK State gear like that. I know he doesn't have a problem with it because OK
I
State is
know.
definitely a storied golf school. So like, Ricky, Wyndham, Victor Hovland, a lot of those guys came out of there that we still talk about right now. So not discounting OK State at all, but you're a grown man now, bro. We're not in college anymore. So hopefully he can get him an adult deal, and hopefully it'll go with whatever clubs he has.
Yeah.
Um,
And again, I don't know how toxic he is on the back end of things. So I don't know if that's part of it as well, or
True.
maybe this opens up some doors for him at this stage. Now that he's won, has secured his card on the DP World Tour through 2027. Um, the PGA Tour suspensions last for a year after you've played with Liv, so he'll be eligible at the beginning of next year. And
Yeah.
I mean, he's been very intentional about saying he's trying to work himself up the order of merit on the DP World Tour and get one of those automatic spots going into next year. Hell of a start. I'm just saying, you win in your second go round, and you wonder what he could have done on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
If the kid's focus is this intense and he's all about golf, I am excited about seeing this kid take off um, and see what he can do. Now that clearly he's gotten himself into better shape, has found what's going to work best for him and what he's seeking out, which is a PGA Tour card to play in majors, those things. Of course, he's got the irrational confidence of saying he's one of the best golfers in the world, which I think you have to have. I don't think
Yeah.
you thrive as a professional athlete without having that hubris that you're the best to do it. I just don't
Right.
think you can. So I'm gonna play his "What's in the Bag." He actually did a short clip with this club maker who I guess put together his set. It's actually pretty tight. It's like 4 minutes of footage. The only difference that I could tell from what was posted on the DP World Tour site was that his putter is different from what he shows in the video, which I think he has like a Odyssey putter in this video. But all the other clubs seem to be accurate as of this weekend outside of that. A few quirky things, another eclectic bag. Ping Staffer at while he's at OK State, and he talks about how some of those clubs have cracked or didn't make it, and he's had to look for a replacement. So I'm gonna pull this bad boy up and let it play through. Like I said, it's pretty tight. Appreciate him keeping it at 4 minutes. So we'll just sit back and watch this.
Quality with Ross. I got a Ventus TR6X tip 1 inch with a Callaway 8.5 degrees triple diamond max. It's been in the play for like a month. I couldn't find a driver after my ping broke, and this one is being pretty good. Because of the driver went good, I actually asked for a through because my ping cracked too. So I asked for the same kind of thing, the Ventus TR, but it's 7X because it's a through, so I need a little more heavy. And I have the 3 max, so 3 plus max. So it's a 16 degree
head.
Yeah. Then irons, I got a TaylMade. They got built 3 months ago. My ping got too old from college, and the new ping, the T ones, they have not enough offset for me. So I got the 3 iron and 4 iron. I have in the P70s, giving me a little more thicker head and a little more easier to hit in the rough or from the tee, and kind of have more variety of shots. And then from 9 iron to 8 iron to 5 iron, I have the TaylMade's P7 MC. I've been using them for 2 months. And the shaft in all of them are the Project XS LS low spin 6.5 125. The reason I went to this shaft from the X1s is because I was spinning the ball a little too much and it was hard to control the distance with the wind. So everyone that plays and has a lot of speed and has a lot of tendency to spin the ball a lot, I would recommend them to try those shafts. You went down my RPMs by 500 on the long irons and 1,000 on the short irons, so it was huge. And the wedges, I still have my 60, the bulky, kind of like my gamer. I won all my events with this in college and tours and stuff. They still make it for me. It's really nice of them. It's kind of like a T grind, 60 degrees, but they also kind of like do some stuff on it. They do some magic on it. Aaron Dill does a lot of good job with this. And then the other wedges, I have Cisco, Joros, they've been incredible. I feel like I have good wedges since the SM6. I didn't really like the new bounces of the new Thales or Bokies, and I struggled to get the ball good enough and spin the ball like I wanted. And since I got these wedges, my wedge games improve a lot. My distance control, my spin control also. Obviously not just the wedge, the shafts, like I said, help a lot with the spin. And then ball-wise, ball glove, I use the glove, the Thales Players Glove, ML. And then the ball, I still use the 2019 Pro V1. It's the ball that I had a lot of success with in the past. For balls, my advice is, if you like someone and you like your control with it, just stick to it. It's very important for it, and I've been liking a lot. I'm excited to try the new 2025 Thales, see how it goes, but I'm still sticking with the 2019. And last but not least, I use a broomstick putter in tournaments, like you guys probably know, and it's been a game changer for me. But when I'm at home, I actually try to putt conventional. I got kind of like these. You guys probably noticed Ricky Fowler used these and Wyndham Clark to win all these events the last couple of years, and I actually have these too. I just kind of, when I'm playing around, practicing and playing with friends, just so I kind of don't get too out of putting normal, conventional, I putt with these. And then on the tournaments, I'm still a little not as good as I need to with the short putter yet to put it on tournaments, so I still rocking in tournaments my 2-ball broomstick from Odyssey, the one I had in college, and I want to start pro. It's been with me for the last 3.5 years. So yeah, that's a little of what is my bag. And obviously I have my Oklahoma State bag when I'm at home. The Cowboys, they're always repping the brand, and yeah, that's a little bit about my golf bag. And here at Tour Quality Golf in Tulsa, and so that.
So
Pretty cool.
Appreciate him. Yeah, I appreciate him keeping the presentation tight. The most interesting thing that I found from that was still using the 2019 Pro V1. That's crazy to still. I mean, I know they can get whatever they need and say, "Hey, can you reproduce this ball for me?" But that's a long time ago. And I know he said he's going to be trying it out. Also, his philosophy around the putter and his comfort level.
Respectable.
Getting back in. Yeah, it really is. Which, there's always some sites out there that talk about him anchoring, which I didn't see that.
I was going to ask you.
Couple videos. I actually have one. I think I still have it up. I'll actually play it. You tell me what you think about is what's in the. We'll look at the anchoring stuff.
I think it's cool. I mean, Callaway is really hot with the fairways right now. I think it's cool though. I mean, a lot of people play the 6.5 Project X shaft, but a lot of people really play like the loading zone, which is kind of like the same kind of premise as far as taking spin off. But I don't know, bro. I feel kind of jealous. Having too much spin is always like that's a problem that you have in your game.
Right.
I want that. I want that.
like taking off 1,000 RPMs. That's a lot.
That's a lot. So in connection with that, I tried the 2025 Pro V. Love the feel. Love the distance. But, buddy, if I'm sitting here saying that it doesn't have enough spin, it does not have enough spin. So I'm back with the X. Because, like, around the green, it just releases out way too much for me. And, I mean, on the day that I played it, I was making crisp contact with the wedges. And so, like, when I'm making full shots, it's okay. Because I feel like with my wedges, I produce enough spin. The grooves are fresh enough, so it's kind of like a drop, a big bounce, and a tiny bit of release. But with the Pro V1X, it's so easy for me to hit it. It hit one hop and then stop, so it's right around the ball mark on the green and stuff like that. I don't have to worry about it chasing out. I can be a little bit more precise as far as my carry and my total yardage with that, and then I'm not losing anything off the tee. Because it still has that replica and that smart enough face to where it's realizing I'm hitting a wood. So I'm not losing yardage with my fairway, with my driver, or with my hybrid that I'm really in love with right now. So Yeah, the Pro V1X is definitely the
There,
ball for me, and that's beside like, and that's I. But and also just to conclude, I'm sorry.
no, you're good.
I get it. You play the 2019 because it does what it's supposed to do. I wouldn't change either. It's the whole reason why I still feel the need to buy a box of Bridgestone Tour BXS because besides the Pro V1X, that is the best ball to me, and I will spend the money on that.
Well, let me tell you, man. There's a I think, and also he'll find this as well. I would love to see him later in the season as he's testing out balls and seeing what else is out there. So, we talked a couple weeks ago. I said I was going to try the new TP5 lineup of balls. So I bought
Yeah,
a a dozen of the TP5s, which was your recommendation. I like them. I don't necessarily love them. I think all the new modern balls feel really good off the face. I haven't
yeah,
had a ball lately that feels clicky or just trash if I strike it well. I have
yeah,
not found a ball that doesn't feel good with compression. Let me just say that. And
yeah,
I can say I've tried like four different balls at this point. So I got a sleeve of the Shrixon Z Star balls. I love that ball.
it's a good
I
ball.
I played I played a couple of rounds with that little 3 pack, and it's an enjoyable ball to play. Um, that lineup of balls is actually pretty quality 3 piece ball. I would recommend that for if you're out there looking for a ball. 2025, I mean, hopefully things always get better for us, but in golf, the lineup of golf balls that are out there is pretty damn incredible. I haven't even tried, which I said I was going to at some point, to just see what the Chrome Soft lineup looks like, Chrome Tour
Yeah,
lineup feels like. I go to my trusty Max Fly Tour balls. I love those. Those are tried and true. I bought the 48 pack, a couple of them, to last me a couple seasons. So I have those. I love the Pro V1s. The 2025 Pro V1s are really good. Like I said, the TP5s are really good. I want to try the X and the TP5. So yeah, I think as he starts testing out more stuff, he's going to find 2025 will probably replace his 2019. But his spin characteristics are very interesting. Like you said, we see some pretty common shafts. I want to say that's the first time that we've seen a player go to the low spin version of an iron shaft. I don't think
yeah,
we've seen that as of yet. After doing two years of what's in the bags at this point.
right, right. Yeah, I think just in connection with your ball, with what you got going on with the golf ball, if you go into the Callaway line, Chrome Soft is the softest, Chrome Tour is in the middle, and then the Chrome Tour X is going to be the firmest of them. So if you're just looking for something in the middle, go Chrome Tour. It's pretty much like Pro V, Pro V1X, AVX. So the Chrome Soft
Yeah.
is the AVX, Chrome Tour is the Pro V, and then the Chrome Tour X is the Pro V1X. So just a heads up on that
Yeah.
because I've been looking at that
At,
too.
at this point, the AVX feels like way too soft. And I used to
Oh,
love that ball.
really? Too
Yeah.
soft for you? Okay, no, dude.
Shut up. It just feels very. It almost feels like you ever back in the day pick up a Wilson. Oh, when Wilson started like trying to pump balls out,
Wait, the
the
Wilson
duo.
Duo was a very enjoyable golf ball.
It did feel good, but that's what the AVX feels like now. Just way too much compression for me, where it
Okay,
doesn't feel like I feel like I'm losing at this point. I used to love the AVX. AVX is still good off of woods, irons, iffy.
yeah, okay,
Um anyway, so that's his what's in the bag. I thought it was very interesting, and again, wish the kid much success, and would love to see more of him on the DP World Tour going forward. Which I think he's going to start now that he's fully exempted. He was relying on sponsorship
yeah.
exemptions to get into tournaments. All right, the ladies, the LPGA. We had Hyo Joo Kim winning her seventh LPGA title, 29 years old. Um, really solid player in her own right. We've talked about it, the dearth of talent that is on the LPGA, flipping ridiculous.
Yeah.
This tournament was stacked. I think all 50 of the top 50 women in the world played in this tournament. Top to
Besides,
bottom.
besides Minji, I think Minji was in Dallas. I think she said she was watching from the
Watching her
crib.
brother.
Yeah.
Okay. But otherwise, I mean, we didn't miss her, right? So shout out to Hyo Joo Kim again, getting 7, just kind of underrated career. Um, but a lot of good showings. Charley Hull, even though she didn't really compete on Sunday, noticeable pop with the driver. She's got a new driver in the bag, and every time I saw her, she was blowing it past her competitors by
Yeah.
25 yards at minimum. I think the stopping smoking story came back up in the conversation. She seems focused. I know she didn't necessarily finish where she wanted to. Still a pretty decent finish, but that's scary when she's blowing driver past people in the way
Yeah.
that she was and keeping it straight. A little tight draw,
Yeah.
really tight. I mean, and then Lilia Vu also looked really good, losing in that playoff to Kim. Wasn't able to get the birdie on the first playoff hole going into 18. But overall, Lilia Vu looked good, looks healthy, has worked herself back into shape. We talked a bit about it last year that maybe some of those injuries had come from her not necessarily being in the best shape of her life, but she looks like she did about a couple of years ago, which bodes well for her game. And I think also for her health to kind of keep some of those injuries that nagged her last year. She had a really rough season in 2024, just staying out on the course due to some of the injuries. We saw her really struggle from beginning to end, but it seems like she's back at it, and her putting is ridiculous. I mean,
Right.
we're not talking about like 5 to 10 feet. It's kind of scary how good she is. I
Pretty
got to
much
watch
automatic.
quite a bit of it. Yeah, I got to watch quite a bit LPGA just because of the time and them starting late after the PGA Tour. So, what'd you think about the tournament as a whole? Anybody that stood out to you of note?
Yeah. Nelly Corda didn't really have it. I mean, she wasn't even on the coverage on Sunday. Like they didn't even show
Right,
her.
right.
But that's bittersweet though. When you don't have to rely on Nelly Corda views to make sure that viewership is up, people are being captivated by the product that is being presented. I think that's a good thing. It's very refreshing. Um, a little bit disappointing because you thought, come weekend time she was going to kick it up a notch, but she's on back-to-back wins. So it's not like she's going to not be right back. She'll be in Vegas defending again for the match play. So
Yep.
I'm not worried about Nelly. I mean, then they got a couple of weeks off or a week or so off, and then they're in major season for them. So Nelly is not to be worried about. She did a 7-week break last season, did the same thing this year. I'm not worried about Nelly. But yeah, Charley is interesting. I think I don't know, man. She needs to focus a little bit more. Whatever she's doing, keep it up. Just a few more strokes of concentration to do her good. Whether
Yeah.
that be putting the sticks down, like she said, putting the squares away, I don't know. But it was kind of the group in front of her didn't really do them any favors because I'm not saying Lilia Vu is a fast player, but she's not slow. And when you come on the coverage, they come on. So in Texas, coverage was from 5 to 8, y'all. From 5 to 8, they played 12 holes. So the pace was great. But whatever was happening with Nana Kurtzen, it was
Oh
throwing
shit! A
them
bunch of
off. Oh
drops.
my
Bunch of
goodness.
yeah,
On the
bunch of
back
drops
nine when
and
it mattered most, the rhythm
yeah,
and everything just wasn't there for Charley nor Lilia. Because I felt like if Lilia would have kept it rolling, I don't think they see a playoff. Now,
No, they
Hugh,
sat those last 3 holes. They sat on the tee boxes
right?
significant.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Because Hyo Joo Kim, she did what she was supposed to do. She went out, posted a number. She played very well on Sunday. But I just think if Lilia Vu had a chance to play at her pace in that final group, still, I think she goes ahead and takes care of the business. But no,
yeah,
overall, probably the tightest leaderboard we've seen, especially all season. Because usually, not saying it's been a runaway, but it's been clear and defined who the LPGA winner was going to be, and they showed pure dominance. It wasn't a lot
yeah.
of that this week. It was a lot of very, very good golf. The course conditions overall were very good until like the weekend when the greens were bouncy.
Yeah,
It was tough for the ladies to hold greens, and they're not necessarily going into greens with like fives and sixes, but when their 7, 8s, and 9s are still releasing out, and you got to play for that short yardage and play for 20 feet, 30 feet of release and stuff like that, that's an added variable that, sometimes can get you.
it's tough.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So, but other than that, no, I really enjoyed the coverage. I got to see a lot of it as well, or as much as I could. They actually replayed it a few times as well. So, yeah, I was really happy to see that, and really happy with the product this week for the LPGA.
for sure. Um, I thought it was questionable. I was like, are they going to even get this with the struggles that they had down the stretch? Are they if they went into the playoff? I was like, are they going to be able to get this thing closed out?
I'm not going to be able to
Thankfully,
finish, correct?
yeah. Thankfully, they were able to do it in one hole, fight in darkness. I thought it was interesting that Hyo Joo Kim, like versus like when guys are anticipating going into a playoff, they're out on the practice green, they're out on the range hitting balls. She's
Mm-hmm.
just chilling in the clubhouse, like
Right.
just watching the coverage like everybody else. I was like, "Are you gonna go like
She
stay
was at
warm and stay loose?"
at first I thought she was going to go to the putting green, but she didn't even go there. She was saying hello and talking to people in the stands and stuff, or behind the ropes, and hey, what you doing later today? Like that shit was hilarious.
It was wild. I was like, okay. I mean, it's a
Right,
different approach, but
chilling.
I mean, clearly she knows what she's doing and what she needs to relax and stay loose. So she did her thing
Yeah,
and got the W. I already know the answer. I know you're excited about the match play. You are a sucker for match play. The ladies are the only ones that still have it, so
yes,
I know
sir.
you're excited about match play.
Very, and it starts on Wednesday. We are
Yeah,
so
early in
excited.
the week.
Yes,
Playing at
sir.
Shadow Creek. Shadow Creek is like the most expensive round in the U.S. right now. I think. I think
Really,
it's like 1,000. I think it's like $1,000 to play Shadow Creek. So it's
for public
something.
play, right? Too.
Yeah, it's freaking
Gee.
ridiculous. Um, yeah, I love golf, and I said that's the one thing that I would probably spend untold amounts of money on, but I don't
Nah.
know about a G. I don't know about a G.
At least with Pebble Beach, you paying like 600, you getting lodging and stuff too, or like
I stand
725 or something like that. I don't know.
I stand corrected. It's $1,250 per round.
Ooh, no sir, no sir.
Chat, are y'all spending 1,200 to play Shadow Creek? And what course would you pay for $1,200?
Right, that's the question. What are you spending big bread for? What do you feel like is worth that? Because Pinehurst number 2 is like $5.
I'd pay that.
Pebble Beach 5,
600.
6, yeah, something like that.
Torrey
See,
Pines is like 300 and change,
yeah,
sometimes
but you
400.
gotta book it like a year or two out though. Bandon
Not
Dunes,
even not even that far. Cuz JP has got on. It's like months. It's for sure months, but not
okay,
not a full
okay,
year. Yeah.
okay. Bandon Dunes up there. But at least Benadune has like it's a property. You get like 7 courses
And
to choose from. You get a short course, you get the long, you get
T-
caddies,
TP TPC
TPC.
Sawgrass, I think is like 900 now.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It's like 875 or some shit. Caddy,
Yeah.
caddy required. Um, I will say a nice little trinket that I recently found out on from whatever you do on TPC Sawgrass number 17. They give you a plaque or like a little placket or
Yeah, it's like
something
a
with your
tag, like a
score.
bag tag.
Yeah, with your score on it. So don't be going out there embarrassing yourself and shooting an 11. And that's your plaque that you're gonna have on your bag tag. Just keep that in the closet, brother.
Yeah, that's a cool little effect, right?
That's a little trinket.
Um, I mean, I think
What
we
did
would
we
all
pay?
probably pay. I think we'd probably all give up like something significant for Augusta National
True.
right after the Masters. Right after the Masters, that condition, I think we would all probably. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think what's so excessive, but I'd give up a lot to play that course. And we're not even just talking the dollars. I really don't know, but that's like once in a lifetime type stuff.
Well, I think so. I think Augusta is different though. Augusta shuts down for the summer or something, don't they? And they open
They do
back
have
up,
season.
and they open back up in like November when the weather's good. I think that's what they
Yeah,
do. So like I played even, beginning November when that's that 60s, 70s type deal. I'm in
yeah.
it.
With the during the COVID year when we had the late in the year
True.
Masters.
Yeah. In November, yeah, it would look good then. I mean, you had a couple
Yeah,
of 50-degree mornings, but so be it. Whatever.
yeah.
Um,
But
we paid
I think for one of these storied courses, I think I'd be fine with anything between $600 and $800.
right.
Totally fine with that.
We played TPC Craig Ranch, y'all. We paid 260-ish and then tipped the caddy. So we'll call it even about 3 bills. Worth it.
Yeah,
Worth
it was
it.
worth
The
it.
experience, the conditions, even so they had pretty much top dressed and mini punch, and the greens were still rolling true. I mean, rolling pretty much faster than what we play on a regular basis. So I don't have no complaints with paying that amount of dollar if you're going to get the right conditions. Now, if we go out to
Right.
like TPC San Antonio and I'm paying 4 bills for punch greens, I'm not going to be with that. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. Like
Yeah,
Spanish
it's a
Oaks,
little more.
Barton Creek, all those types of courses that's always on Golf Digest, top Texas public courses and stuff like that.
You saw that list. You saw that list too, right?
You
From
know
the
I
other day.
saw it. You know I saw
Yeah.
it. So yeah,
Um.
I'm clocking lists though. So one of these days we're gonna have to make a vlog, y'all. You gonna see us on one of these courses on a
I know.
weekend. Where you gonna see us? We gonna do it.
Um. That's all the golf. For
Yeah,
the week, we had a pretty robust conversation about the
PGA.
PGA and and and
Yeah,
and DP World Tour. Very interesting stuff
yeah.
this week. Um.
Couple of quick
In
hitters.
other world, say that again.
Couple of quick hitters.
Yeah. In the other world of sports, in media and basketball, LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. I mean, they've
Ugh,
been beefing for a while. They've been beefing for a while.
ugh.
But I think officially culminated this week with LeBron James going on the Pat McAfee show, and then dressing down Stephen A. Smith, which caused Stephen A. Smith to respond for 15 minutes straight, tell what ended up being lies about LeBron, and mistruths, lies that he wasn't at Kobe Bryant's memorial, and that he missed Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame, but it's as a result of his son Bronny almost losing his life to a heart condition. So,
Right.
I mean, and then on top of it saying I haven't mentioned, but he's throwing it out there now and was wrong, and then did a half-ass apology behind it. So, I mean, at this point, I mean, I hate Stephen A. Smith. I can't watch. whatever show he's on in the morning. I never liked it when it was him and Skip Bayless. The
Right.
arguments just seemed ridiculous on both sides of it. I'm a complete hater of debate, bro.
Thank you.
TV, and that's politics, that's sports. I hate the contrived just to argue, especially when somebody has to take a side that makes absolutely no sense, but it's just part of the
Right.
show.
You want
So,
me to defend bullshit? No, I won't do it.
do you think LeBron James has been wrong in any aspect of this? Do you think he was even wrong when he confronted him at that game?
The only thing I think Braun is wrong about is giving Stephen A. this much attention. Period. I don't think he's been wrong in any other aspect. He's defending his son. He is a dad to the core. He's been that way. That's one thing you can never say about LeBron is that he has not been present in them kids' life. That is one thing for sure, and two things for certain. So for Stephen A. to say some stupid shit like that, like he's not gonna be at the hospital and taking care of his son that literally collapsed on a basketball court, bro. Like, please, like, let's be for real here. And then for him to think that it was okay to say that as a 6'1" sports reporter and journalist that you'd swing on a 6'9", 260, physically damn near perfect specimen, you'd swing on him. Please, Kev on stage said
Bro,
it best. Kev on stage said that shit best. If if LeBron James put his hands on you, it's just that LeBron James put his hands on you. It ain't no swinging back. You
no.
swing back. What are you gonna do? It ain't gonna
It's
affect
gonna be
him.
bad.
It's gonna be
No.
bad news bears for you, bro. And then LeBron
And in that
responded.
video, go
Oh,
ahead.
hilarious! Hilarious. He didn't even have to say any words. All he did is post Stephen A's. Oh my goodness!
That and then Stephen A tried to deflect and say I had surgery on both shoulders at that time.
Shut
Sir,
the hell up!
don't
Shut
put
the
me
hell
don't put me on video then. Like why is that
right,
video exist? But that
right. Yeah, exactly.
oh god, it was bad.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Then
it was bad.
the young Dolph. Oh my goodness! Right after it was this peak social media. Wah, wah, wah. Oh my god, bro!
Wow.
So that pretty much ties that up. Stephen A. Put your foot in your mouth and walk on over to the side, bro. Please be quiet.
I know. It's
Please.
bad. While we were on my next little random topic for the week is should the Dallas Mavericks be tanking right now, just flat out tanking? While we were on, they lost to I forgot who
The
they were
Nets.
playing. Or
The Nets of
the
all teams.
Brooklyn Nets, 113-109.
Who is
I have not
definitely
looked at the
lottery
stats.
chasing.
Right. Well, I don't know. This is like the part where I feel like um, coaches get themselves fired, especially for bad teams. Well,
Yeah.
winning games like this when you are chasing the lottery. So, Anthony Davis played, Dinwiddie, Thompson, PJ Washington back, Gafford's back, um,
Gafford was our leading scorer with 17 points. That says enough
and
about what we have going on.
in 19 minutes too. Interesting.
Right. Oh, and the
10
other
shots,
Klay Thompson
10
5 of
shots for
16.
Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went like 4 of 19 the other night when he played. It's time to wrap it up, buds. It's time to
Well,
wrap it up.
I mean, I feel bad for Clay. I mean, I feel bad for Dallas as a whole. It's
Yeah.
been It's been a nightmare of a season, and I feel
We're
bad for
only
him
one
coming
game
here.
behind 500.
Yeah, but they're in the eighth spot,
Ninth.
so it's like ninth as of now. But going into today, weren't they in eighth? I thought they had eight,
No,
but I could be wrong. You're
no,
probably right.
the Clippers and everybody else above them are like 11 games above 500. So it's literally between us, Sacramento, and Phoenix for 9 and 10. We're all fighting for 9, 10, 11. Portland is 32 and 43. They're clearing away pretty much the next team, but they're not even close. So it's literally between us, Sacramento, and Phoenix. I'm pretty sure we have the tiebreaker between Sacramento, and then Phoenix has the tiebreaker between us amongst what we got going on. But
I think Phoenix has traded away like all of its picks, so it just needs to go ahead and get in the playoffs.
Yeah, they need to go ahead and win. But hey, you know what? Apparently, they're supposed to be trading KD over the summer, so hopefully they trade him for picks and something equitable. Give it back. Give the team back completely the book. Get Bill to waive his no trade clause. Get him out of there. Give Book his team back and let him ride off into the sunset. And hopefully he can make one more playoff push or something like that. But yeah, I think Dallas. Unfortunately, Dallas is going to be forced to win just because of the talent that they have, kid at the helm, and stuff like that. But more importantly, the CEO of the Mavs came out earlier this week in an article with WFAAA, which is a local Dallas thing, and talking about he's trying to win back the trust of the fans. That is clear and far away, so far gone. There is no coming back from that shit. I don't give unless you somehow re-sign Luka, it ain't coming back. And even then, we still gonna be looking over our shoulder.
He said we are going to win and we are going to win championships, and that's how we're going to do it.
Stop,
sir. You've set your franchise back for 20 years. We are going to return to the Mavs of the 80s. At Reunion Arena, when we would go sit in the nosebleeds and mom would yell as they were down 25 every night. Back to the God, who was that little guard? I cannot remember he reminds me of Scott Brooks. We're going back to the Scott Brooks days of the Dallas Mavs. It's over. They just need to be quiet.
Yogi Ferrell on the court again, bro.
We're going to be a G League team for a long time. All these vets are going to force their way out of town. Nobody wants to stick around for this. Like, it's just mediocre. It's mediocre basketball. You can't win with it. You cannot win championships with this team. So just blow it up and let us suffer and go pick alternative teams in the next 10 years, because that's where we're at.
Bro. Truly.
All right. Any other randomness you want to cover before we hop off?
No, that covered it. I'm so done with it.
That's why I leave it to the last part.
Rangers strong start to the season. We got
blown today. But...
Yeah, we got humbled today. But good start versus Boston. 3-1 to start the series. Jacob deGrom had a good start. We got some good starting pitching. The bats seem to be somewhat back. Now, 3 runs versus 14, not really defending my argument, but
right. First road series, first road game of the year. That's the one thing, man. Baseball, I'm gonna hit one of these Sunday afternoon games. I don't think they open up the roof very often, and going into the new stadium feels so sterile. I mean, there's just something about going out to a baseball game and sweating it out in the sun that completes the experience. For me, at least, that's what I grew up watching.
No, facts. I do have that to say. That'll be my randomness for today. Recently, Houston changed, whatever company bought them out. They're no longer Minute Maid Park. They're Daikin Park or something like that. Listen, this just really got me on a tangent because Globe Life Park just doesn't ring off the same as the ballpark in Arlington. The same way Daikin Park does not Green Golf the same way Minute Maid Park Green Golf. Everybody knew it as Minute Maid. Even if you were a hater, you always knew it was Minute Maid Park, and you loved the name because it literally looks. They got the orange. They got the whole. It matched. I don't know what this Dyken Park shit is. I don't know what this Globe Life shit is, bro. Y'all need to come up with some cool names if y'all going full scorched earth name change and stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. That's my little tangent for today. I'm gonna keep it cool.
I wonder. I wish there was like data, and I'm sure it exists somewhere, even if it's internally. How how does the naming of a stadium equate to sales? Like how
Right,
many
like
more
popularity. Yeah,
how many more boxes of orange juice did Minute Maid sell as a result of that naming over that time
real.
period?
The literal
I mean, how
nickname is
many?
the juice box.
That's horrible. And this new Daikin again, who I don't even know what they do, right? So then I'm sure they're
I
gonna have
just
to advertise, huh?
I just recently found out. It's like air conditioning, cooling, and shit like that. Stupid
Have
stuff.
never heard of them. Same thing
At
with
all.
Globe Life. It's insurance. I mean, I don't get it.
News to
I
me.
just think I get it. The teams like it for the dollars that it brings in, but in terms of value, um, yeah, I don't. I mean, I hate the corporatization of the U.S. right now. It's so bad.
Yeah,
Like you said,
money
nothing
ruining a
like the
lot of
ball,
things.
nothing like the ballpark in Arlington. And yeah, with that, we'll sign off. Breeder Bros Golf Show. It's been fun. I had a fun time with today's show. We'll be back at it again next week, per usual. I'm Rod.
And now, Marcus.
Peace.